Guys, I've given you so much content on local SEO. I've given you this. I mean, there's just so much. 2-hour, 3-hour, 5-hour long step-by-step courses on how to do local SEO. In other words, on how to rank your site first on Google Maps and on Google. And still, people ask me, Vasco, just give me more tips. I want more tips. And honestly, if you're still looking for tips, well, you're never going to rank first, because if you keep in this loop of watching videos over and over again and never actually implementing this stuff, well, you're never going to succeed. And then if you're watching this video again, most likely you haven't gone through all these pieces of content and actually implemented this stuff. Because if you actually watched through all this stuff and implemented the steps that I give you, the tips, well, you should be ranking a bit higher than what you were before. But still, if you're not yet ranking higher, well, I'm going to give you my final 5 to 6 local SEO tips that actually are a bit more aggressive, maybe even borderline black hat-ish SEO, that if you implement and if you're in a bit more competitive niches, well, you should be still looking at a bit of an increase in rankings. Again, still, if you're in less competitive niches, all the content that I've recorded so far, which I'll link down below in the description, the 2-hour course, the 5-hour course, the multiple local SEO tips with tangible tips you can actually implement. If you've gone through all those, implemented all those, and haven't seen success, you're not ranking first, well, you should be in very competitive niches. So I'm going to give you my final tips that if you apply them, this is what I apply in the hyper competitive niches like lawyers, you should see an increase. And so these are going to be a bit more weird type of tips, not really necessarily tailored to just SEO, the classic SEO on Google. So yeah, let's just cover them, and hopefully by the end of the video, you'll be able to again implement these tips and see success. So let's just jump straight into my computer so I can show what these final local SEO tips are. And by the way, before you jump into those, please go watch these videos right here. I'll leave them in the description because, I mean, again, if you watch them and implemented this stuff, you should be high up above in the Google Maps. So watch those, and without further ado, let's just jump straight into my computer so I can show you what these 5 to 6 more aggressive tips are. Let's break it down. Okay, we're here. Let's get it cracking. 7, not 5. I know I said 5 in the intro, but 7 aggressive local SEO tips to rank you first in 2025. Now, tip 0, okay, it's this one. Watch all of these, right? It's long, but having the absolute most context as to how to do local SEO is very important. And I recorded 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 videos on multiple different aspects, some tips, some how-tos, some ideas, on how to do the multiple things you need to do to succeed in local SEO. So please go watch all these. I'll leave them all down in the description. If you don't have time, well, just watch this one right here. This is 2 hours and 14 minutes. It doesn't necessarily encompass all of these, but if you don't have time and you only want to watch one, watch this right here, okay? I'll leave these in order in the description, okay? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's the 7th link. So again, I'd recommend you watch all of them, but if you only have time for one, watch the 7th one, okay? So that's tip 0. Now on to the serious tips. Now, first one, again, these are really going to become a bit more aggressive as we go down the list. The first one is build more backlinks. Just stop thinking about it and build more backlinks. Most of you guys out there, most of you local business guys, are just missing backlinks. Okay, that's what I see. Because I work with a couple, and we do the content, we do the optimization, we do a bunch of stuff, right? But oftentimes, the lever that we pull that has the highest impact is just building more high quality backlinks, okay? Now, not just quality, but also quantity, okay? You're missing volume, okay? Now, what I mean by quality, and I talked about this before, I'll also leave a link for a step-by-step, actually, never mind, I'll play a clip in a bit on how to get these backlinks. But what I mean by quality is, well, if you're a local business, right, you want a local backlink, so backlinks coming from local sites, local sources, okay? They have to be niche specific, okay? The more niche specific the backlink, the better, right? If you're a plumber, you don't want backlinks coming from sites for dog grooming. Doesn't make any sense, okay? And then high metrics. What I mean by high metrics is URL and traffic. So if I go here to Ahrefs, right, I use Ahrefs again. All these metrics can be easily manipulated, okay? Like all this can be easily manipulated, okay? So don't worry too much about this, right? But they serve as guidelines. DR, domain rating, URL rating, okay? So go for sites that have these two, the closest to 1-to-1 ratio the best, and the higher the number, the better in some cases, right? And the higher the traffic, the better. And of course, the higher the traffic from the city or the country you're in, the better as well. Okay, that's the 10,000 feet overhead view of this stuff. Okay, now again, there's a infinite type of backlinks you can build. Guest posts, niche edits, comp backlinks, PBNs, Web 2.0. I mean, there's infinite things you can build. And I want to save you time, and I want to be practical as well. So I'm going to give you the best type of backlink you can build in terms of effort to ROI. In other words, in terms of effort it takes to build said backlink, right? And the return on the investment, in a sense that the return being the backlink is going to have a positive impact on your site's rankings, okay? So more traffic. And so I'm going to play a clip here on how I build these backlinks, okay? They come from charities, which is very interesting. So I'm going to play the clip right here. This is a type of backlink not many people know about. So play the clip. Welcome. So I'm going to show you step by step how you can acquire links from very powerful .org domains. So domains that are from organizations with ADR from around 40 upwards to around 90 for free. So here's how you do it. Let's say, for example, let's choose a niche. Let's say my niche is, for example, pet grooming, and I'm in Dallas. So I'm a pet grooming company. Again, this works for any business anywhere. Just for example's sakes, I need to use this. Okay. So again, this is me. Let's assume, for example, this right here is my site. Okay. Let me just paste this. I don't know who these guys are. Let's assume again, this is our site. Let me just paste it here into Ahrefs to see. Okay. We have at the moment 3.1 backlinks, 3.1K backlinks from 400 domains, and our DR is 50. And we want to get more backlinks because the competition has a higher DR and has even more powerful backlinks than us. And so how do we build the perfect backlink? So by now you know that the perfect backlink is one that has very high metrics, that's an M, right? And also very high levels of relevancy, right? So this is the two things you want when you're building links. Metrics, of course, high DR, high UR, high traffic, right? And relevancy, of course, is if our site is about dog grooming, right? We want links to be pointing out to our sites that are related with dog grooming, right? We don't necessarily want a link from a store that sells or a car mechanic, right? Linking to us. Even though it might be from a powerful domain with traffic, it's a very irrelevant link. So the perfect link again is one that's with high metrics, high DR, high UR, high traffic, right? And as well as relevant. And the best links that satisfy these criteria are these from non-profit organizations. So what you do, just go to non-profits, let's say Dallas, for example. Again, I just click this, open this. This is like a directory of non-profit organizations in Dallas, okay? I just opened up a couple, right? There's this one, for example, Greyhound, whatever, right? There's this one for breast cancer. There's this one for not too sure, right? There's a bunch of them, right? I just pasted some here, okay? Now, if we take this, for example, the Greyhound, whatever, because it's in our niche, just open up their site right here, right? It's this one right here. They changed the domain. So this is the site. Okay. So again, a .org domain, right? Hyper relevant because this is, if I'm not mistaken, right? It's a adoption or a non-governmental organization, or non-profit organization, right? So in the dog niche, right? We pasted it right here. So DR 40, which is decent, right? Domain with real traffic. Okay. Right. On our .org, which is a powerful, trustworthy TDL. Okay. What we do, and all these sites have this, okay? You go to their sponsors page because every single one of these nonprofits has a sponsor page, right? And you see here on these sponsor pages, these are all links to businesses in the area. For example, this is linked to, let's see, this is linked to another foundation, right? This is linked to, let me see here. Some of these are links to foundations, of course. This is linked to a business, right? To a private business that sells dog foods, okay? And so what you do, quite simply, and the way you show up here in these sponsor pages is just you reach out to them and you make a donation, right? And in return, right, they allow you to be placed on here on this sponsor page, right? So again, yeah, you are paying for the link, you're giving a donation, which goes to a great cause, and you're getting a backlink. So this is the best type of backlink you can have. Again, super powerful domain, super relevant. And there's a ton of these, right? There's a ton. I just searched nonprofit Dallas, and there's infinite, right? There's 12 pages, right? It's insane, right? You can just go through these, open these up, right? Again, open the URL, see how powerful. Again, this is gone. But again, open and see how powerful they are. For example, this right here, right? DR 60. Surely they have a page for, let's see, donate, right? They have a page for donation, so you can donate, of course. And surely they have a page for their sponsors somewhere around here. Oh yeah, there you go. Impact, and go to partners. Go to partners, there you go. All their partners right here. And again, all this links to the business. So I go here and click this coffee, for example. Again, a link to this coffee brand, a private business, right? There you go. What they did is they just most likely donated to this cause, which again is great. You're donating to a good cause and getting a backlink in return from the sponsors section. Super easy to do, right? Super easy to do. Again, for a good cause, and you get a great backlink. Short one today, but this is super valuable, right? It's insanely valuable and it's super easy to do. And it's a strategy that not a lot of people talk about because I don't know why, not a lot of people know about it, but it's insanely powerful. And this allows you to get backlinks that most of your competitors will not have guaranteed. So you get exclusive backlinks that your competition doesn't have, plus high metrics, so high traffic, high DR, high UR, right? And hyper relevant, hyper niche down, okay? So that's it. There you go. So build those. Don't just watch the tips and don't do anything, right? If you're here, most likely, as I said in the intro, most likely you've watched all these right here, right? So this is your last effort. So don't just watch this. Actually go out and build the backlinks, okay? Do that. Build the backlinks, right? It's very important. Now, second tip is in relation with LLMs, okay? Ranking on ChatGPT, Grok, Perplexity, Claude, right? All those. Now, what we have to understand is LLM, large language models, LLM optimization is sort of BS, okay? Not 100%, right? But the showing up or being cited or being mentioned on LLMs is 90% doing the classic SEO. In other words, if you rank on Google and Bing or on Google Maps, right, most likely, you're gonna be mentioned or cited in ChatGPT or any other these LLMs. Why? Because all of them taking info from the sources Google trusts, right? To some extent, right? If you're ranking first for best cat litter box, right, on Google and Bing, there's a high chance that you're going to be ranking or mentioned first or a couple times on ChatGPT. Why? Because if you rank first on Google, most likely you have a site with high authority. In other words, maybe you have backlinks, right? You have a bunch of pages, you have real traffic, you have social media, so you are an authority in according to Google's eyes. So to become an authority, you have to build this brand. You have to be trustworthy. And so GPT and any other these LLMs will pick the most trustworthy brands. So in other words, what's trusted by Google, what ranks higher, is also trusted by these LLMs. Because it wouldn't make any sense for these LLMs to promote stuff that's not really trusted. In other words, shady sites, not authority at all, they don't have much content. This is all, it makes perfect sense, I think. That being said, right, the other 10%, okay, can sort of be gamed. And the LLMs right now, ChatGPT and all the other ones, are sort of like Google was like 10 years ago. They are easier to game. What do I mean by this before I give you an example? LLMs, as you know, are conversational, right? When you're in ChatGPT, right, you give it a prompt, right? And it's sort of a funnel in a way that you give it a prompt, right? And it answers back. Let's say, for example, you say, hey, listen, I have a garden. I want to start gardening at home. I don't know what to do. What should I get started with as a beginner, right? It gives you a reply, right? Then you say, okay, that's cool. What tools should I get for this, right? And it says, hey, listen, here are the tools. Okay, I do want to plant strawberries, right? So you start broadening the funnel. You start being a bit more specific. So with your prompting, you're basically narrowing down to your answer, right? And what you're doing right here is what you used to do with Google. On Google, you'd say, hey, how to start gardening, right? Maybe you click the first link, read the blog, get the info. Okay, that's cool. Okay, then I'm going to go on Google again and say, okay, so the prompts you're putting right here, hopefully it's making sense. The prompts you're putting right here in GPT in this conversation, right? This is what we used to do in Google. You search for something, get the info, then go back on Google and search for stuff and narrow down your search until you find whatever it is that you want to buy or buy basically, right? So again, I want to plant strawberries. What's the best tool for that? Now it starts narrowing down, right? Okay, I have like arthritis and my hand doesn't really work. Are there any specific tools that can work for that? Boom, you're narrowing it down more and more and more. So you're prompting it as it's narrowing it down. Now, the good thing, the reason why people do this on here, on GPT and on Google, is because it's much faster and much more user-friendly to do it here. Because it's way easier to have a conversation with GPT, because it's back and forth, as you know, right, than with Google, okay? But the principles are essentially the same, okay? Now again, as I was saying, LLMs are conversational, meaning the way in which you have to way in which you have your brand be mentioned in prompts is by giving as much context as you can about who you are, right, what your brand is, what you do, and how you do it, right? Why you're better than the competitors and why your products or services, they do. Let me show you an example. So let's go over this right here, and I have no affiliation with these guys right here. They're a brand that talk about gardening, right? They have all these gardening blogs. They talk about gardening seeds, etc. I mean, they have a bunch of cool stuff, right? About the gardening niche. And they also, of course, have a Shopify store associated with the brand, of course, right? Where they sell like these garden beds, etc., like seeds, tools, right? It doesn't really matter what they sell. And if I click here, for example, and I'll open ChatGPT as well. When I look at this product page, and again, I know I'm using a e-commerce brand as an example, but the same principles apply to a local business, okay? Now I go here to the product page. This is like a garden bed, okay? Pretty cool, etc. The size, right? There's of course product details, what it is, what it doesn't do, how to use, how it actually works, right? The material breakdown, okay? What's it made out of? Why is it made out of all this stuff, right? How to use, like how to set up, it's all this cool stuff. And then FAQs. Now, why am I mentioning this? Well, just this part right here, material breakdown, right? This is made out of ultra thick durable steel. So let's say I'm on here and I say, hey, I want to start a garden. I was using a wooden garden bed, but the rain messed it up. What material garden bed should I use, right? You get the point, right? I'm narrowing down my search until I say, okay, this is what I want. So here's the thing. Oh, galvanized steel. Okay, so okay, oh, this is cool. The pros, I like the pros, I don't mind the cons. Okay, looks cool. Okay, are there any brands out there that sell steel-based garden beds? So you get the point. We're narrowing it down. And who do you think is going to show up for this type of prompting? Well, it's the brands that really break down who they are, what they do, why they do it that way, the services they sell, the services they don't sell, where they provide them. If it's services, right, the material breakdown, why is it steel, right? Why isn't it something else? So for example, let's say you have a watch, right? Let's say you have a specific skin condition where certain like straps that are made out of steel mess up with your skin, right? So you might be searching for, hey, give me a watch brand with straps that are good for like, that don't irritate the skin, right? Well, the brands who show up are brands who say, hey, listen, we have these straps that are not made of steel, they're made of like plastic, right? That are specifically designed to not irritate your skin, right? And just giving that small context, putting it on your site, whatever you want to put it, right? It's info that the LLMs, when they crawl your site, are going to read through it and gain that context. So what I'm saying here is you have to give as much context on your site as you possibly can, because LLMs are conversational, right? And so they're going to crawl your site, crawl your socials, and read through every single piece of information, right? And prompts are very specific, okay? So because they're specific, right, you have to be specific in the content or the context, sorry, you put out into the world. Hopefully this is making sense, okay? Hopefully this example of the garden beds was good enough to get my point across. Okay, so that's what you do. And if you're a local business, right, say you provide plumbing services, right? Or let's do rhinoplasty services. You're a plastic surgeon or a lawyer. Like lawyers is even easier, but let's do plastic surgeon, right? Let's say you're a plastic surgeon, you provide a bunch of different services, right? Instead of just having the classic pages like the services pages, the review pages, testimonial pages, where you go over like the procedures, what you do, the pricing, right? Go over more specific things. Again, I don't know a lot about this right now because I used to do it in the past, this niche specific, but look for pain points people are searching for, FAQs, little small stuff, and then add that context onto your site. So when people are searching for specific prompts about, let's say, is it safe to do a rhinoplasty, or can I risk losing my sense of smell, or does my sense of smell get lost if I do a rhinoplasty, or you get the point, right? Be specific, because prompting is specific and it's conversational. So as much context you can give to your site as possible, the better. Hopefully this made sense so far. Okay. Again, any questions you have, just comment down below in the comment section. I'll answer them when I see them. Number 3, schema. I think I talk about these in all of these right here, most likely. Even this in specific right here, but it's very important, right? Schema markup, in essence, I won't dive too deep into what this is right now. I'll play a clip in a bit, but basically it's this little snippet of code you can add to your site to give more context to whatever robots are crawling them, whether that's Google's robots or OpenAI's robots, doesn't really matter, right? It's more context, okay? So you can add structured data or schema markup beyond the basics, right? The type of schema, don't just have the local business schema, like go here, right here, schema markup. You can go to this site. Again, I'll play a clip in a bit. This right here gives you all the type of schema that exists, okay? You can validate the schema. You can look at all the schemas, right, that exist. Event schema, organization schema, local business schema. There's a bunch of them. Again, I'll play a clip in a bit. Point being is that go beyond the basics, right? watch the clip that I'll play in a bit, but go beyond the basics, add more data, add more schema, right? Same as schema, geo, I mean, there's a lot you can do with this to be a bit more, to go beyond the basics. Honestly, most people, most local businesses don't even do schema. So if you're just doing the basic schema, you should be good to go. But if you're watching this video again, most likely you've watched all the ones before. You did schema, didn't really work for you. So if you're here, what I'm saying is add it beyond the basics. Really dive deep into all the schema that exists, right? You even use ChatGPT for this and see, okay, can I add all these and how would I add them? Okay, now, again, I'll play a short clip right here of how this works in right now. Actually, let's play the clip. If you add this little snippet of code to your site, you will instantly rank higher, get more clicks, and make more money. Now, what you're looking at here is called schema. Schema markup, in other words, it's structured data, right? It's data we give to search engines to better help them serve our information, okay? And what does this code translate into, right? So you put this into your site, and I'll show you how to do it in your site, right? But what does this translate into, okay? So you might have noticed when you search for recipes, right? This right here is schema. This is schema. So this little snippet of code, right, allows you to get these extra things on the SERPs, on the search engine ranking pages. And these stuff like stars, images, or for example here for product reviews, or for example for events, these are all different types of schema. There's a lot of them. Here's a couple of examples. There's again, review schema. So the image of the product, the star rating, the price, the delivery, right? For example, right here, more reviews. This little search bar right here, this is all done with schema. Little snippets of code, custom codes you put onto your site. Don't worry, this is super easy to do, okay? Event schema right here. So if you have an event site, right, when someone searches on Google for events near me, right, what's gonna happen is that like not the first thing that appears aren't sites. It's this little thing right here directly from Google. And where does Google take this info from? Well, from your site, but your site needs to have event schema on it. Okay, so this is super, super important. There's schema for a bunch of stuff, okay? For tickets, for recipes. Schema, all in all, is a little snippet of code you add to your site, local business, for example, that gives you an extra feature in the rankings, okay? And so how do you create this schema? Well, you can go to schema.org, and here you'll find every single type of schema that exists. So click on schemas, and I mean, there's a lot of schemas, right? You can just go with this list, which is the most commonly used, okay? So events, health, organizations, person, local business, product, reviews, star ratings, the little stars, there, it's called this right here. So this little schema right here, this is achieved, right? The little stars you saw are achieved with the aggregate rating. So this stars right here, the star rating you saw, this right here, you add the schema code called aggregate rating, okay, to your site. So for example, what you do here is just scroll down, okay, and find the code and JSON, and just copy this, and then what you do, just copy this right here. Of course, you have to change the stuff right here, okay, because some of this stuff won't make sense according to your reviews. For example, this is a review from Luca, right? You don't have a review from Luca, okay? Adding this in to your product pages will allow you to have this stuff right here, okay? Now, you can sort of fake this, right? If you open up this product, it doesn't even go to the product itself, but this product might not even have 5-star reviews from 500 people. But because they added the code in that said it had, well, kind of confused search engines. So this is still a very, it's not a new thing, but because not a lot of people know about it and not a lot of people do it, you can get away with this stuff. You can like make up, you have like 1 billion reviews for 5 stars. You can make this stuff up because again, super new and it's quite easily to manipulate, okay? And so what you do then, you go to Google Schema Validator. What this is simply is basically a tool from Google that allows you to test if your schema code makes sense. So go here, get right here, sorry, Schema Market Validator. This is in Indonesian. Let me just translate this all to English. 1 second here, because I'm in Indonesia right now. And then just paste this up right here. Boom, paste it in here, run the test. And there you go. So what this basically is, it's converting this like code, okay, the same code you saw at the beginning, okay, into things you can actually read, okay? So type, product, description, whatever the product is, name of the product, okay, image, right? You copy this, it goes to the image URL. This isn't working, of course, because it's like just a dummy. Aggregate rating schema, so the type of schema, okay, 3.5. So 11 reviews of 3.5. Okay, so again, there's a bunch more stuff here, and you can change this stuff right here. You just copy this and add it to your site. Where, again, I'm just going over this one type, but again, as you saw, there's a lot of them, right? Depending if you're a local business, depending if you're a events, a product, a service-based business, right? There's a lot of things you can do. Now, I'll show you in a bit like how you can automate this because you can use AI to automate this for you automatically, so don't worry. Like instead of you having to go here and choose which ones you want and see which ones make sense and go in and copy the code, edit the code, because again, this code right here, this is just an example, right? You have to go here and edit your stuff, right? You have to change your product name. It's a lot of work, right? So I'll show you a way in which you don't have to do all this, okay? So, but first, before I tell you how to like automate things, I think it's very important that I show you how to do stuff so you can understand what's happening actually in the backend, okay? So what you do, and I'll use this site as an example, right? You simply log into your WordPress. I mean, WordPress, Shopify, any site works, okay? It doesn't really matter. And you just add this code. If it's, for example, a schema that's holistic, that's for the whole site, you add it to the header, okay? If it's just a specific page schema or a product page schema, in this case as reviews are, right? You add it to the product page. Okay, again, this is a bit technical, so don't worry, I'll show you how to do it automatically. What you do here, if you're using WordPress, okay, go to pages, and for example, go here to this one, right? Again, I'm using Elementor. I know this sounds complicated, and it is complicated if you do it manually, but it's way simpler if you just use this tool right here, which again, I'll show you in a minute. But again, I think it's very important that I show you how to do the boring stuff and the manual work first, because that's how you understand this stuff. This is a very old page on my site. What I do here, just go to HTML, get an HTML block like so, take the code again, just copy it and paste it in here. Again, this is schema that's ideally put on individual pages. Yeah, this is a review schema for a product, so make sure that you put it on the product page, okay? It wouldn't make sense to put this on your homepage, right? So again, there's some nuance to this. Just hit update, right? And then if I go and test if there's any schema present on this page, which I will, just go here, copy the URL, Google Schema Validator. We just open it up again. And right here, this is in Balinese, don't worry, I think this is the button. Let me just translate this to English so it all makes sense. There you go. Where is it? Let me just do this again. Product, there you go. Schema, microwave, whatever, the same product, 3.5, 11. So now we have schema on this page. So now if I leave this on, eventually when you search for something and this page comes up, well, you'll be hit with this. This page will have this. Okay, so there you go. Super simple. Now I'll remove this after the video. I mean, actually, I'll do it now because I don't want this, even though I don't use this site, I don't want this to show up like that. So yeah, there you go. It's pretty straightforward. Again, there's a lot of schemas, and this is why this is sometimes a bit tricky. There you go. Hopefully this made sense. Okay. Now, number 4. It's a bit of easy tip, but and I mentioned this before, but it's dedicated pages with reviews, testimonials, and FAQs. What do I mean by this? Well, when you have a site, right, let's go again with the plastic surgeon example, right? You have your site right here, okay, your website, but also you have your GBP, your Google Business Profile, right? GBP on your listing, right, you're going to have a bunch of reviews, okay, ideally, right? And ideally you answer to the reviews with you sprinkle your keywords when you answer the reviews. Again, I mentioned this before, right? When you're answering a review, don't just say, hey, thank you so much. No, say, hey, Deborah, thank you so much for coming into the clinic, brand name, in this location. We were very glad you went here to do your rhinoplasty. So when you answer the reviews, sprinkle in your keywords. But again, I mentioned this before, and I mentioned this in all these videos, so I won't say that again. But again, there's a lot of context that I'm not saying here that I tell you in all of these. So that's why I said this is tip 0, because it's very, very important you watch all this. So if you're just finding this channel right now, all of a sudden, please go watch this. Otherwise, it's not gonna make much sense. And you might feel like I'm not giving you enough tips, but I am, because all the context right here. Again, website GBP, right? Having a dedicated page for testimonials, right? With all your user testimonials. Again, you can just copy the reviews and put them here, right? All your testimonials. This does 2 things, okay? First thing, it's good for user experience. So when users come to your site and they see, this lawyer has a bunch of real life testimonials of cases he won, that's pretty cool, right? Because people read through these testimonials, okay? Or a plastic surgeon, I guess. And second thing, right, don't forget, this is crawled by Google. This is crawled by OpenAI's GPT models, okay, any other ones right here. And what does this do? Well, let's say there's a review right here saying, let's say for a lawyer, Mike's Lawyers or Mike's Law Firm helped me win a case of super specific thing in 2025. What do you think's gonna happen when someone's on ChatGPT saying, hey, listen, my my wife left me, and she took all my money, and she took one of the kids, and then my wife's mother did XYZ, and they got my house because of this and that, and I lost my boat. Super specific, right? And when they're, again, being conversational with GPT, right, eventually GPT will understand, this is a case similar to what I've once found about or heard about in Mike's law firm's website, because I crawled it and there was a testimonial on Mike's law firm site, talking about a similar case. So what do you think GPT is going to recommend? Well, Mike's law firm. Does that make sense? And so that's why it's important, okay, to have them both on your GPP and also on your site, again, for user experience and for being shown in LLMs, and even also just in Google search as a whole, okay? So that's that. And the same thing goes for FAQs. You can have FAQs in your GPP, I'm sure you know about this, right? But then add them to your site as well. Why? Because if one of the FAQs is, for example, does a rhinoplasty make you lose your sense of smell? I mean, I'm not writing this well, but you get the point. Well, if you have a detailed answer to this, well, when someone searches for this up on GPT, well, your answer can show up, okay? And you can be more specific with this. So again, bit of an easy win right here, but I think it's very important, and I don't see a lot of people doing this, at least not the right way. Now, next one, tip number 5. This is Black Hat, and actually, I used to work with a guy here in Portugal that did this. And before I read any of this, in essence, what I did was, let's say you went to the first page of Google, okay, and you typed in, plumber Dallas, okay, for the search. Now, there's of course the Google Maps, okay, Google Maps, and then there's all the sites. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6. What this guy did was he launched local authority microsites. They were fully fledged sites, honestly. So this guy owned the first 6 results. He owned them all. So if you search for plumber Lisbon, not Dallas, there was a high chance that the business was going to be sent to him, right? He had, of course, his listing on GBP, on Google Maps, excuse me, but there's multiple ones there, so he didn't get all the clicks. But if people skipped this right here to Google Maps and just went to the organic, right, he had the first 6. The first 6 results were his, right? Different meta titles, different meta descriptions, different brand names, different websites, right, of course. But he did have them all. So it was like he had like a monopoly. And actually, I managed to rank my site above all these right here. And what happened in the end is that after a long partnership, after I sent them leads, after I got paid on a monthly retainer, etc., I just sold him the site. So he got one more. He got 7. So then you got 7 sites ranking first for not just Plumber Lisbon, but Plumber in Lisbon, a bunch of different variations of the keyword, okay? I'm not sure if this is still the case. I would assume so. But in essence, he has a monopoly. Why am I saying this? Well, you sort of can do the same. You can launch, again, local authority microsites, register them as EMDs, exact match domains, because they're EMDs are still easier to rank for than just brand names. So best lawyer Brooklyn or top HVAC Chicago, okay? So niche and location, okay? And then, of course, just do the regular SEO, okay? Just the regular SEO, publish optimized content, review style content, promoting your main brand. This is if you want to drive traffic to the main brand, so it's like, sort of like a silo structure. All these different sites drive traffic to your main brand, which wasn't really what you did, but you can do it as well. So these all these right here can mention, hey, listen, go to this right here. That can work as well. The 2 things can work as well. And then, again, build PBN links. Again, it's the classic SEO, which if you go to my YouTube channel and just search it for SEO course, there's like a 3-hour course going over how to do the classic SEO. That's, again, go watch this right here. If you do anything on this video right here, just watch this right here. Okay, so in essence, it is a very black hat technique because you can do this, and if it works, you just have a big monopoly and you just dominate the search completely, which is very interesting. And he did it very, very successfully. I can go a bit in depth on how he did it. So all these sites look different, look like different brands. But of course, all the phone numbers on the sites, right? All these phone numbers on the sites, they all redirected to the same call center in his offices, right? And different people answered the phones. And yeah, that's how they made their money. With it wasn't actually plumbing. It was I don't even know how to say this in English, but like unclogging, like for toilets and a bunch of this stuff, which is kind of different than plumbing. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I thought it was pretty interesting. Yeah, and that's the tip number 5, which can work, a lot of work, but if you can make it work, I mean, a lot of money to be made, honestly. Tip number 6 is sort of in line with tip number 5 in the sense that tip number 5 tells you how to do this for this right here, for the non-Google Maps. Tip number 6 tells you how to do it for the Google Maps. So imagine if for a search, you show up, you own all the like top 5 listings on Google Maps and the top 5 sites. I mean, there's no stopping you, right? There's no stopping you. And honestly, this as a whole can be a business you can sell. Let's say you do this, right? You get the 5 ranking first in GMB as well. You can just approach a big law firm in the US or wherever, right? You can say, hey, listen, I have this huge list of clients and list of search traffic going to these sites about lawyers, right? And I can just sell these assets to you, right? Because these sites are assets, right? These GBP listings are assets. So this can become a sellable asset, which is very, very interesting. It could be a video just on its own. But in essence, again, tip number 5 is for this right here. Tip number 6 is for this right here. And basically, you sort of saturate your neighborhood, okay? Now, issue with this is that it is hard to create multiple GBP listings. It's very easy to create multiple sites, right? But with GBP, you have to verify it, right? You can't just spin up a GBP and say, hey, listen, I have a business right here. No, Google has to validate that this business exists and has an office or whatever here. So if you're thinking about using a virtual office provider, don't, because this doesn't work, okay? Now, it is a very black hat SEO technique on how to do this, on how to verify GBP or fake GBP listings. So go watch this right here, okay? Just search it for 3 black hat SEO techniques for Google Maps SEO and click on this thumbnail on YouTube, right? This sort of teaches you how to verify fake GBP listings, okay? So you can do this right here, okay? And then, of course, add unique phone numbers, make sure it looks like different businesses. Otherwise, you're gonna get clapped, okay? So these 2 are one of the 2 most black hat strategies right here. But this one, I've seen it with my own eyes. It is insane. It just works insanely well, okay? On this one, I mean, you get the point. It's sort of similar, okay? So it's pretty cool. Now we are on to the last tip. And by the way, guys, before I reveal the last tip, if you could do me a huge favor, and if you like these sort of videos, just drop the words local SEO just for the YouTube algorithm, because a comment on a video is much more valuable than the like or a subscription, because YouTube pushes out these videos way more if people actually comment on them. So if you could do me a huge favor and just comment the words local SEO, that'll be top tier. So yeah, thank you so much if you did that for me. Now, last one. Small interruption. Hello, this is Vasco from the future to show you a cool thing we've developed in Arvow, which is if you go to your dashboard, click on blog automation, click on site optimizers, click create new optimizer, add your site URL, add your language, select how many pages you want the AI to analyze, and hit create. Well, you're going to have this AI agent that automatically goes through all the pages on your site. Right here, I did an analysis to my own domain. It analyzed 50 pages. And what this does is it releases all these little AI agents, AI soldiers onto your sites to analyze a lot of stuff. They analyze your page titles, your meta descriptions, your canonical URLs, your image alt text, your internal links, your schema, right? And it gives you suggestions on what it thinks it's wrong. Here's an example. So for example, for page titles right here, right? Our current page title, for example, for the page, I don't know, let's see here, for the page AI SEO editor. So if I could just copy this, go to arvow.com/SEO editor. This is just a feature page. If you're a local business, well, it'd be like your location page. If you're like an e-commerce store, it'd be like your product page. Because we're a software business, this is like our feature page showing off the feature. Okay, pretty straightforward. Okay, and for this page, right, the AI tells us, okay, your current title, your current meta title is SEO editor and content optimizer Arvow. It's, I don't know, it's wrong, right? Shouldn't be this, right? And the AI is suggesting, so the suggested title is, hey, we think you should change this to AI-powered SEO editor, optimize content for our rankings. And here's why. So it gives us a suggestion and tells us why. Hey, listen, this title is more concise and directly highlights the AI aspect of the SEO editor. But it's giving us our current title and it's suggesting a new one and it's telling us why. Now, we could have simply just not added the why, but I feel like if you're using AI, it's very important to understand why the AI is doing what it's doing, okay? And if you agree with the suggestion, you can hit apply, and the AI agent will automatically go to your site and change it just like that. Or you can decline it. And based on what you apply or decline, the AI will learn for future recommendations. Now, it does this for page titles, meta descriptions, right? Canonical URLs, internal links. I can assure you, if you try this now, you're gonna have a bunch of images, without alt text. We're an SEO tool and we have a bunch of images without alt text. And the AI reads through the image, and if you hit apply, the AI will automatically add the image alt text to the image. Internal links, super cool. Let's say you have a big site with a bunch of pages, like an old site with a bunch of pages, right? Well, it will be a pain in the butt to go through all the sites and actually create links from one page to the other page, this one to this one, this one. What this AI does is it reads through all the pages on your site and it suggests an internal linking structure. For example, right here, it's suggesting we link this page right here, AI news article generator using this anchor text to this page, and here's why. So the AI agents read through our site, they analyze it, and based on reasoning, it gives you suggestions to what it thinks you should change and giving you the reason behind it. You can hit apply or decline, right? There's schema. Right now we have FAQ and article schema. Soon we'll have a bunch more. But this is a pretty simple and fast way to just add your site, hit generate, and have it analyze a bunch of the pages on your site. And sure, yeah, maybe some of these recommendations won't be very valuable, but a lot of them will. I suggest you give it a go because, internal linking, yes, you can do all this manually, and all AI does, AI isn't a magic tool. All AI does is amplify what would you do as a human. So yes, you can build an internal linking structure as a human, but just takes so much work. So just use AI. It's just so much faster. Image, alt text, schema, canonical URLs, just so much this can do. So give it a go. Go to Site Optimizers, hit Create Optimizer, select the language, select how many pages you want to do. You can do 1 million pages and give it a go, try it out. And yeah, back to the video. Tip number 7, it is use press releases to fake local buzz. Now, if you don't know what a press release is, or if you want to learn how to build it, go watch this. Again, people charge thousands to try to do this. I just do it for free in 15 minutes. Literally step by step how to go about writing a press release, how to pay someone, and where to pay someone to successfully do it for you, to syndicate it to Yahoo Finance, TechCrunch, all these major publications. So I'll teach you for free how to do it right here. Basically, the essence right here is to create fake local buzz, right? So you run a monthly press release for top HVAC company in Dallas launches free inspection campaign, or top plastic surgeon in Dallas does this amazing thing right here for blah, blah. You get the point. Again, all this is sort of black hatty. Again, I know, but if you're on this video right now, you've tried all of this and you failed, and this is your last hope. So that's why these are a bit more black hatty and a bit more aggressive. As I said before, quite aggressive. So you can do this, okay? And this, what they'll do is, because you're pushing out your brand mentions to multiple authority publications, well, your brand is going to be scattered and mentioned in multiple types all across the web. How do LLMs work? How does Google work? Well, LLMs, the more brand mentions you have across the web, the higher the likelihood it is that you're going to be mentioned in the replies. So this can work great. If you take any of these right here, I'd say the ones who have the highest effect is going to be building the backlinks. Okay, this is great. This you're sort of doing it by default. Okay, just follow the example I told you right here in Epic Gardening. Okay, this, if you're right here, you've already done schema enough. So I'd say skip this for now. Okay, do the other ones first. This you should have already done it. You should have already done it. Excuse me, if you've watched this right here. Okay, and these two, give it a go, because if you can make this work, not only you'll make a lot of money with the leads that come in, but you're building a sellable asset. You can sell this to a big company, right? You can sell all your sites and all your GBP listings as a bundle. This is literally a $1 million asset to a law firm, to a plastic surgeon, to whoever. Okay, this is big, and I might just do a video on this, solely on this, because this is huge. And then it's right here. I think this is an easy win. PR is super easy to do and not very expensive. And not a lot of people do it because they don't know how to do it. Okay, they just pay guys on Fiverr overpriced to do it for them. It kind of sucks. So watch this right here. It's going to be pretty cool, I think, as a high ROI. So yeah, guys, that's it. That's basically it. Hopefully this was valuable. Again, watch this right here. Comment the words local SEO to help with the YouTube algorithm. And since you're still here, well, I'll give you a prize. You most likely know I'm the founder of Arvow, a AI SEO software. Way much more than just a writer, as even we say right here. I think right here, more than just a writer, your complete SEO content system. Yes, it allows you to write SEO content. It allows you to publish it, trace your site, syndicate it, but also has this feature where you can edit the content, you can select words, you can use AI custom prompting to rewrite said content, add images, add videos. There's this pretty cool feature where you just add your site in, it analyzes it, fixes the bugs, fixes technical SEO, adds schema, adds internal linking structures. There's a lot of other stuff that this tool does, so I encourage you to check it out. And again, since you're here, you can use the code Local SEO for 15% off. We don't do this at all. So there you go. If you've made it all throughout this almost half an hour, I think you deserve it. So if you use the code Local SEO, you get 15% off the tool. So yeah, that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment the word Local SEO, and I'll catch you on the next one. And by the way, still, if you're here, watch this next. Watch this one. Cheers, take care. Bye-bye.